But it kind of also gets a little bit worse, especially with the first episodes. You actually brought up the Sasuke comparison with Kai, and I actually think there is one element there similar, but it's to basically quote another review. Basically, this is manga reviewer Why Rule of Time, and one of the reasons he brought up of why Sasuke was so annoying is that, especially after the time skip, for the longest time, even when Sasuke was not on screen, when he was at the center of the action, he's all the main protagonist Naruto could think about. Sasuke, I miss Sasuke. If I learn this technique, I can bring back Sasuke. If only I was strong enough to take Sasuke back, etc. This has a very similar approach where, for a good chunk of the first few episodes, Kai is literally the only bloody person IT can think about. Every single other time it's like, I just want to fight Kai again. And at the end of the second episode, it's like this bit where IT's like really sad and sullen because he thinks that he'll never see Kai again, especially when people say that, oh, that guy was acting so badass and he lost to a first-time player, who I doubt he'll ever show his face again, which is, again, a bit much. It's just so over the top now. Okay, like me and Sven said in another Monkey broadcast, gotta figure it, I think it was the one we did last February, we brought up that I really dislike it when people take a perfectly normal friendship and try and blow it up into a slash pairing, but this show gives them way too much material to do so. It's like...
You can hardly criticize the fangirls whenever the show gives them literally all the ammunition they'll ever need.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, IT acts like really depressed. There are moments where he's just sitting down solemnly staring at the river, wondering if he'll ever see Kai again. And there's one episode, I think it was episode 4, where, I kid you not, he fights someone else entirely. And the whole point was, he basically loses in an extremely painful way. The idea is basically to say to him, look, there's more to this game than you realise. You need to learn all of the additional rules and beef up your deck a bit. And then he goes, yes, I'll learn more about the world of Vanguard. And then I will fight Kai again. And the screen basically... And wait, it gets better. The scene basically turns out, I mean, okay, there's this shot where it supposedly looks cool where basically his mental image of Kai basically turns back round to stare at him. And there's this, it's surrounded by, I'm guessing it's supposed to be like sparks of energy or whatnot, but it looks like cherry blossoms in all honesty.
Oh my god. I mean, really?
Yeah, and and I forgot to mention, the way that episode began is it actually uses a romantic comedy trick of, hey, Kai, it's so good to see you. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were someone else, yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, so wrong.
Yeah, it's just, and normally I would just say, okay, it's just a friendship, a dramatic effect, will you people let it go? But here's the thing, Sora and Riku, they were childhood friends that were separated by this great conflict for a long time. Naruto and Sasuke, okay, Sasuke was kind of annoying, but the point is they were teammates, and Naruto feels like a failure for not bringing him back. Lin and Florina, they're also people who have grown up together and are like best friends. Kai is someone that Aichi has met a grand total of twice.
Wow, someone really needs to find a hobby.
Yeah, I know. That's the reason why I can't really get a grip on this show as it stands. The stakes really aren't high enough to justify the characters taking it so seriously. I mean, I guess I could kind of approach it from the sports anime idea. I mean, okay, this is a kind of confession, but I kind of liked Beyblade G Revolution when they focused more on it as a sports anime, like just trying to be the best and win a tournament rather than claiming the fate of the world is at stake. But none of them ever went to this extent, you know. No one claimed that somehow card games changed their entire life, you know. It's
yeah, I see exactly what you mean.
It also doesn't help that this is possibly an entirely subjective thing, so you can take it or leave it, but the actual card game itself doesn't really appeal to me. I mean, something like, okay, some of the later Yu-Gi-Oh! Seasons may not have appealed to me, but I still play with the trading cards again, because on its own, it is still an interesting game, and it does, you can see there's a lot of strategy required in it. It's like a game designed for a narrative, because there are many ways you can sort of pull victories out of the fire to make a great comeback, etc. The card game itself doesn't really seem that interesting. It's kind of hard to describe it. I'm not sure what it is about it, but just most of the time it seems to be, right, I summon this monster, and I'll also summon this monster behind, and I'll have this monster give attack power to that monster, so that monster goes into something like 1200 attack points, and then I'll attack you. Oh no, I guard, it's just, it basically just seems to be people throwing card after card after card after card at each other, and it's kind of hard for me to see what the strategy of it would be. I don't.
Yeah, I see why there would be a distinct lack of appeal in that. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Itself doesn't even appeal to me on its own. Sorry, Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans, but that appeals to me even less.
Yeah, I think that's what there's got a bit. Card Game Vanguard, it does have some things going for it. Maybe if you're looking for a card game anime, it might be worth checking it out, but just from a personal view, I couldn't really get behind the stakes, and the card game itself, it was okay for the first few episodes, but then it kind of just seemed repetitive. Maybe you'll enjoy it, but I didn't, honestly.
Well, that is good to know for future reference, because I'm probably going to avoid it now.
Fair enough. But yeah, although I do really like Crunchyroll as a site, so hopefully I'll be able to talk to you about more anime, and although I'm having a hard time finding series I can get past the first episode on. And actually, slightly ironic note, I was thinking maybe I should have a look at some of the filler arcs on the Bleach anime, because I figured they have like the entire catalogue of Bleach episodes, since that's still running in Japan, and I thought, why not? I heard some good things about the Bleach filler arcs, maybe I'll find them more enjoyable. They have the entire catalogue except for one season. I think it's Series 13, I'm not 100% sure. But that season is also known as the Zanpakuto Rebellion.
AKA the one good filler, evidently.
Yeah.
Although even I don't like it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The one arc which I actually was vaguely interested in checking out.
Yeah. Wow, that is painful irony.
Yeah, so Joy, I can now either watch the episodes where Aizen's completely overpowered and destroyed everything, or see what they do for pad up for time in the filler arcs. Joy.
What a choice.
Either that or start checking out Shoujo.
Well, if you decide to do that, I recommend avoiding everything but Oron Host Club.
Fair enough. And that closes that section, but it's now time to cover all of the other things we wanted to review in
Quickfire Reviews!
Like you just said, this is the section where the two of us review everything else we've read, watched, or played, but within the maximum time limit of 60 seconds. And do you want to go first, or?
I have absolutely nothing to review.
Okay then, right. Well, I have two things I can quickly get out of the way, so let's do that.
First off, Xenoblade Chronicles. Yes, I finally got round to that critically acclaimed RPG, which has so far only been released in Europe, although from what I hear that may change in the near future. Having a lot of fun with it so far, the story's actually pretty interesting, the soundtrack is awesome, and the British cast has its own charms. My only criticism is that the battle system's a little chaotic, and I seem to be dying constantly, which kind of breaks the flow of the game, but other than that, I'm enjoying it, so who knows, maybe if I get better at the game, I will have more fun.
Yeah, that always helps. In fact, I kind of use that same logic with Soul Calibur. The less I suck, the more fun I have.
Okay.
Wow, I just looked up the British cast for Xenoblade Chronicles, and the main character is voiced by the guy who voiced one of the companions in Dragon Age 2, and that...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Anders, and that's the very same companion character that turned into a terrorist at the end.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up, because I was looking up the voice cast myself, especially since there's like one big scene early on in the game, which I won't spoil, but he did amazingly well in that, especially considering it was one of those scenes where the guy has to scream loudly at the top of his lungs.
Oh, yeah. If you want a very good example of how good he is at doing that, just check out Anders in Dragon Age 2, because he does a lot of that in that role, too.
Quick manga update, Fairy Tail's just been getting really weird, and there's also one slight cop-out in the rules of the Magic Tournament, but I'll let it slide in the hopes that it's something good. Naruto, a little cheesy, but still pretty enjoyable, even if the tailed beast as babies was a pretty weird image. And Bleach, we've now been getting the start of the final arc, which I'm willing to give a chance, but unfortunately, bugger all happened in the first chapter of said arc, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it consisted of basically foreshadowing, and not very effective foreshadowing at that.
Yeah. There's not much else to say about that. I mean, it wasn't really bad, it's just... It didn't tell me anything about what this arc's gonna be like at all.
Yeah, all I can take away from that is two things. One, that was not worth the 3 weeks I waited, Kubo. Two, Mayuri, keep a consistent look. I swear, he looks like a pharaoh's mummy now.
That's all the reviews we wanted to cover, so we're gonna move on to the final section of the month. Yeah, there isn't much news to talk about this month, so we decided to hold a discussion again. What world-shattering issues are we gonna talk about this month? Smash Brothers. Why? Because.
That's as good a reason as any, right?
Yeah, we're kind of taking a relaxed discussion since, well, to be honest, I couldn't really think of anything clever to do. And since Nintendo are continuously teasing us with the prospect of a Smash Bros. Game for both the 3DS and the Wii U in the future, we might as well talk about it, why not? So yeah, Smash Bros. If you're one of these people who's been living under a rock or closest himself off from any kind of interaction with the gaming culture, yeah, it's basically a fighting game that crosses over pretty much every single franchise owned by Nintendo.
It's better than it sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun series. Quick question, which was the first game that got you into Smash Bros. Then?
Well, the first game that got me into Smash Brothers was the very first Smash Brothers.
Yeah, so it was either that or Pokemon Stadium that I originally bought an N64 for in the first place. That was an awkward sentence.
Me, I cannot even begin to remember what the first game I got for the Nintendo 64 or what my reason for getting one was, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Whenever I first saw the cover, I remember thinking, even at 7 years old, I think I was when I first played it. Even at that age, I thought, okay, I'm looking at Link fighting Mario fighting Donkey Kong. What the fuck?
In my case, it was one of those things where I saw it in a magazine and I thought, okay, this looks odd, but it's Mario being able to fight Link. That's awesome.
And Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah, definitely Donkey Kong. Oh, just to get the obvious question out of the way, yeah, Donkey Kong's my main in Smash Bros. What a plot twist.
Yeah, what a surprise. This is almost as big a twist in the plot as whenever Ginjo turned evil.